For this next example, it says use the given measures to solve triangle ABC. A equals 35, B equals 42, and C equals 50.3. So the first thing you can do, it doesn't have to be to scale, call it A, B, C for your triangle. Now remember, A is an opposite to angle A. So that would be 35 right here. B is opposite to angle B, so 42 would go here. C is going to be opposite to angle C, so I'd put 50.3 here. So we did have to draw our own triangle in this problem, and now you can see that we have side, side, side. Now side, side, side also uses law of cosines, and normally these rules solve for the side lengths A, B, and C, but we already have the side lengths for A, B, and C. So it's not just going to be a simple plug and chug where we plug everything into one of the equations to get a length like what we did when solving for B over here. We're going to have to do what we did in the last problem when we solved for angle A, which is to pick an angle that we're going to solve for and then use inverse trigonometry in order to get our answer. So I'm just going to go ahead, and it does not matter which angle I want to start with. Let's just go in order, and I'm going to solve for A. Okay, so A, that's what I'm going to solve for. If I would like to solve for A, I need to use the equation that goes along with A. So that would be A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2BC cosine A. I wrote that down on my paper, and I'm going to scooch it down right now for you. Okay. So this is step one. I'm solving for angle A. And let's just plug in the measures that we know. So A squared, if this is angle A, that means this is 35 squared equals B squared, which is 42, plus C squared, so that's 50.3 being squared, minus 2 times B, which was 42, times C, which was 50.3, times cosine of A. Now, I want to get A by itself, or really, first I have to get cosine of A by itself. So I'm just going to clean this up and then try and get cosine isolated. So 35 squared, I'm just going to plug that in, is 1,225 equals, I'm going to go ahead and plug 42 squared plus 50.3 squared in my calculator. So 42 squared plus 50.3 squared. Because these are just two numbers being added together. So that gives me 4,294.09 minus 2 times 42 times 50.3. So 2 times 42 times 50.3. I get 4,225.2 times cosine A. So we're going to be using inverse operations to get the equation just cosine A equals to something. So I cannot divide yet because I'm currently adding the 4,294.09. So I need to undo that by subtracting this. And what you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So this is gone. I have 1,225 minus 4,294.09. I got negative 3,069.09 equals negative 4,000. Okay. All right. So cosine A still isn't by itself. All I have to do is, because it's currently multiplying, I divide by a negative 4,225.2. I'm going to plug that in my calculator. That gives me a positive 0.7263. You could keep writing 7, 7, 4, 5. You can write however many numbers you want here. Okay, the more you put, the more accurate your final answer is going to be. So like if I would have just put 0.7, my answer would have been off slightly. But since I put so many, I will get closer to the exact answer, but not quite. It's still going to be an approximation because this is an approximation. All right, I have cosine of A, but remember to undo the cosine and get A by itself, we have to use cosine inverse. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. So I have A equals cosine inverse of 0.72637745, or however many decimal places you went. And if I want that on my calculator, I hit second cosine and then plug in that number. I got A is approximately 43.4. I am going to write my final answer to the nearest tenth because that is what it asked me to do. So that's 43.4. I have one of the angles, so now I need to find another one. It doesn't matter. I could do whatever I wanted. I'm just going to go in order and solve for B now. Okay? So B is going to use the equation with B in it. That's this one right here, and I'm going to write the rule at the bottom. I know I'm jumping all over the place. Okay, so now the second thing we're doing is solving for angle B. It's B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2AC cosine B. So B, the side length is 42. A, the side length is 35. C, the side length is 50.3. So that's minus 2 times, scooch this over, 35 times 50.3. Cosine B. Let's clean it up. So 42 squared is 1,764. I'm going to go ahead and add these two together. So 35 squared plus 50.3 squared in my calculator gives me 3,755.09. Minus, I'm going to multiply these constants together. So 2 times 35 times 50.3 is 3,521 cosine of B. And now I do want to get cosine B by itself, but I need to first move this number to the other side before I can even try to divide. So I'm just going to get rid of this right here. Opposite of addition is subtraction. Okay, so I'm just going to plug this in my calculator. Hopefully this isn't too hard for you. It's just really tedious and it takes a little while. Okay, so now I'm currently multiplying by negative 3,521, so the opposite would be to divide by negative 3,521. Plug that in my calculator. I get positive 0.56548991 I don't care how far you go. The more you go, the more accurate your final answer is going to be. You could have put 0.6 here, but just know when checking your answers, you're going to be off. To undo the cosine, I need to do cosine inverse. So B equals cosine inverse of that number right there. So B will be approximately, let me just plug this in. I hit second cosine, plugging in that number. (55.6 degrees). Okay, so I'm going to go back up here. We just found angle B, which is 55.6 degrees. I should have put degrees here before too. Now, for angle C, we could go back and use the equation with C and do it all over again, or we have two of the three angles, so we can just do 180 minus the two measures we know, 43.4, 55.6. I'm putting in my calculator right now as we speak. I got 81 degrees. Okay, so I know that took us a while to do. I was going to make you do these two try problems, but why don't you go ahead and get started on your homework. There's 6 questions on the homework. Let me take a look at it real quick. Hold on. So here's your 6 questions on the homework. It is going to take you a while. These are side angle side. These are side side side. I don't want you to spend too much time on this. So how about you cross off number 3 and 6? If you would like to try 3 and 6 for extra practice, you are more than welcome to. Otherwise, why don't you just do these 4, okay? I'm going to go ahead and pause the video to show you the answers for 3 and 6. So if you do end up wanting to try 3 and 6 for practice before starting your homework, you are welcome to. So those would be the answers for 3 and 6. Feel free to pause and write them down, and then check your work.